Hi, friends. Coming to you from beautiful Chatham, Virginia, I am Mandy Dolan, 4 H Extension Agent for Pittsylvania County, and I am employed by Virginia Cooperative Extension. As a kid, I participated in many different 4 H programs. In fact, working at a 4 H summer camp was one of my very first jobs. Once I aged out of the program as a participant, I became a volunteer. And at the same time I was a 4 H volunteer, I was also going to Lynchburg College, which is now known as the University of Lynchburg, to get my bachelor's degree. I took lots of general classes that would help me progress towards my degree, but I really struggled to pinpoint exactly what major I wanted to help me determine my career. It wasn't until my senior year in college that I even knew that I could have a career in 4 H. Naturally, once I found out that that was an option, I was all in. I did my hard work and I started looking for jobs. Fortunately, there was a job opening here in Pittsylvania County, and in February of 2014, I was hired as Pittsylvania County's 4 H Extension Agent. And let me tell you, I have loved every minute of it because I get to meet, interact with, and teach really cool and awesome kids like you. The beauty of being a 4 H Extension Agent is that no 2 days are ever the same. Now, as someone who enjoys change, I feel like I'm very well suited for this job. Some days I'm in a classroom teaching kids like you about science or public speaking. Some days I'm on a farm demonstrating how to properly care for livestock. Other days I'm here in the office working on paperwork, processing record keeping, doing some administrative things, or even preparing for the next lesson. And then there are some days where I'm on the road traveling to a conference in another part of our state. For the most part, my day begins at 8 a.m. and ends at 4:30 p.m. However, because this job does have so much variety, some days I have to work into the evening, and then there are some occasional weekends where I have to work too. While each day has the potential to be filled with variety, my day-to-day responsibilities are pretty consistent. Each day, I'm responsible for not only planning, but leading lots of 4 H activities that are fun and exciting. Each day, I'm responsible for showing a genuine care and concern for kids like you. It's my job to teach students, to lead students, to guide students, and my personal favorite, to have fun with students. Each day, it's my responsibility to know when to take charge as a leader and when to stand down and be a team member so that my colleagues and I can work effectively to reach a common goal. Each day, I have to be a positive role model for students and for my colleagues. I do this by showing respect to others, communicating effectively, keeping an open mind, sharing ideas, and being willing and able to try something new and innovative, and sometimes being just a little bit silly. A formal education is required to be a 4 H Extension Agent. My employer, Virginia Cooperative Extension, requires a master's degree for this career. The good news is that if you already have a bachelor's degree, you can be hired as an extension agent, but you have to get your master's degree within a few years of your hiring date in order to stay employed. The really good news and the really cool part is that Virginia Cooperative Extension will also pay for your master's degree. I got my degree from Virginia Tech in August of 2019. For this career, it's important that you have a wide range of skill sets. The most important skill is being willing and able to help other people. If you aren't willing to be able to answer questions or point people in the right direction, this career may not be for you. Because this career does involve so much public interaction, communication is a very important skill, and so is being respectful to others. While our most important work is done outside of the office will be one of your most used spaces. And that also means that a computer will be one of your most basic, valuable resources. Being able to have a strong foundation in programs like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and being able to send an email will definitely help you succeed. Time management is also critical in this job. Maintaining your calendar and balancing your schedule will set you up for success. Because 4-H has such a broad range of opportunities, any classes, clubs, or sports that teach life skills like responsibility, self-motivation, leadership, and teamwork would set you up for success for this career. But if I had to recommend a few specific clubs and classes, here's my list. FFA, FBLA, and of course 4-H are great clubs to be involved in that would help teach you some of the skills that you would need as a 4-H extension agent. And some classes that I would recommend taking are home economics, sociology, and even classes like your basics, science and English. With any organization, there's going to be some things that you really, really enjoy doing. And then there are some things that are a little more difficult. I chose this career because it's one that I'm passionate about. After all, I grew up in 4-H, remember? At the end of the day, I really appreciate what my agency, Virginia Cooperative Extension, and 4-H stands for. Sometimes there will be some tough decisions that you have to make both on the fly and after some long, hard consideration. And sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with parents or 4-H members. There will also be some seasons of your career that are very, very busy with long hours. But you know what? There's also so many smiles, so many hugs and high fives, and those glorious aha moments when students finally understand what you've been teaching them. Not to mention the wonderful interactions and connections that you make with families and community members in our area. Also, when you become part of the Virginia Cooperative Extension family, you gain overnight access to a true family and connection and network of resources, tools, ideas, and of course, encouragement and inspiration. Every job has its really good days and the maybe not so good days. But there's nothing like the feeling of walking into a grocery store and feeling like a true celebrity when kids shout out, "Miss Mandy!" Or when I walk into a school for a 4-H program and see students' faces beaming with excitement to find out what kind of exciting and fun activity I have planned for the day. As a 4-H extension agent, you are a role model. You are a local representation of a globally recognized organization. The example that you set, the impacts that you make, and the legacy that you leave behind make a difference. And that's why I love my job. I'm held accountable for my actions because kids like you look up to me to be their positive role model. When I was little, I always wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals and wanted to be able to help them. But in high school, I realized that I probably wasn't best suited for that job. I still, to this day, love animals, but at the time, I just didn't feel like my talents could be best used in that line of work. During high school, I was also bitten by the travel bug. I wanted to see the country, so I figured, why not make a career out of it? From that point forward, I made it my goal to become a pharmaceutical sales representative to visit hospitals and doctors' offices all over the country to sell medications. During my junior and senior years of college, I still just didn't quite feel like that goal was suited for me. It was a great goal on paper, but it wasn't something that I was truly passionate about or cared a lot for. As I mentioned earlier, it wasn't until the later part of my senior year of college that it finally clicked. I could make a career out of 4-H and be great at it. I had the experience, I had the knowledge, and I had the drive to put my talents to great use for an organization that I knew and loved. So I got to work, started on my resumes, brushed up on my interview skills, submitted applications, and finally, a year later, I was hired as the 4-H Extension Agent in Pittsylvania County. So my advice to you is to use your head, but follow your heart. Success doesn't just happen overnight. You have to plan for it. You have to work for it. You have to learn to adapt to adversity and persevere through the tough times. Think about your strengths. What are your talents? Once you've figured those out, pair them up with something that you love. Then do your research, educate yourself on what you need to do to accomplish those goals, and then do it. Why? Because I believe in you. I wanted to take the last few minutes to tell you a little bit about the history of 4-H and to show you the 4-H clover and explain what it stands for. If I have time, I'll even teach you the 4-H pledge. 4-H is a globally recognized organization. That means that there are other continents in our world that know and recognize the 4-H clover. Virginia 4-H has a partnership with a country in Africa called Senegal. Virginia 4-H sends 4-H agents like me to Senegal pretty frequently to check in on how their 4-H programs are going. Virginia Cooperative Extension also has partnerships with countries all over the world. How cool is that? Now, where was I? Oh, 4-H is a globally recognized organization that teaches kids like you all about leadership, responsibility, respect, and teamwork, just to name a few. I visit schools and host club meetings to teach kids about livestock or team leadership or how to cook or about natural resources, fun science experiments, public speaking. The list goes on and on. Even though 4-H started out in 1902 with clubs like Corn Club, Pig Club, and Canning Club, the 4-H program has evolved into something so much bigger. There's truly something for everyone. Today, we offer programs like rocketry, Lego robotics, performing arts, horseback riding, swimming, you name it, kayaking, shooting sports. I always like to say, if you can dream it, 4-H can probably do it. This picture that you see right here is the 4-H clover. Notice that it has 4 leaves and 4 H's. Clever, right? The 4 H's stand for head, heart, hands, and health. You can hear each one of those H's mentioned in the 4-H pledge. I'm going to lead the pledge. While I'm leading it, I want you to listen closely and see if you can pick out each of the 4 H's. Here I go. I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Were you able to pick out each of the 4 H's? Head, heart, hands, and health. Great job. Well, friends, that's all the time we have today. I hope you've learned something new about 4-H and what it's like to have a career like mine. Remember, use your head, but follow your heart. Make a plan, do your research, continue your education, use the networks and connections and resources that you have around you, and never, ever be afraid to ask questions or make mistakes. It's how we learn best. Until next time, friends, I'm Mandy Dolan, 4-H Extension Agent in Pittsylvania County. Take care.